Welcome again, Pax Europiana, this time from Kyiv. And this is the Kreshatik, the main Stalinistic ally of the center of Kyiv. It is, you can see, a very big road here in the middle of the town, cutting the town in two parts. And here, over there, you see this typical Stalinsky dome, the big kind of skyscraper palace which he has created after this time from 45 to 53 when he died, when he was basically led to die by Beria in this kind of coup, because he was actually preparing the next war and he was losing the Korea War and all these other things. But this was the kind of Soviet Stalinistic urban development, and this will be the topic here now. It was basically for military reasons. Yeah? Of course, the destruction of the city happened in the World War II when the Nazis fell over Kiev and did all these huge crimes like Babin Yar, these Holocaust-related crimes outside and killing so many people. It was a horrible crime. Now it's very well documented, and there's also a monument. I was there already several times, but I will go there also this time. And I will show you all this. But what happened here basically, then there was the fall of Kiev and the retake of Kiev. I will show you this one as well, between 41 in September and November 43, so 2 years. And what happened was that the whole center of Kiev was destroyed. It was basically as a revenge. It was mined by the Soviet authorities and it exploded. And it was a disaster. But what I want to say here now is obviously that the way it was rebuilt in the Soviet monumental architecture, of course, a complete disaster, like so much. But also it's to this day a big disaster because it's not the modern European way of developing a city. You have a kind of, let me count the lanes, 7 lane street going through the city center. This is, of course, in my view, the absolute Soviet disaster style of urban development, and I call on the authorities to change that. Yeah. I get a lot of attacks on that in the past. This is actually the mayor's house, where Klitschko, the most famous, I think he's the most famous Ukrainian. I think Timoshenko is also very famous, but these are the two most famous personalities here, Klitschko and Timoshenko. Zelensky, obviously, Poroshenko, Yushchenko, there are several of them, but I think he is by far the ones with the best international reputation and also the cleanest ones, and he's very serious, but in sports career, and he's also very popular in Germany and Austria, and I think in all Europe, maybe in all the world, one of the most famous person. And he is actually a very good mayor, no doubt. But it's a question, what you really do with the legacy of Stalinistic military parade streets in the center. It's kind of a motorway in the middle of the city. And I say it has to stop. Obviously, it's part of the smart green city transformation. We need a more serious effort in public transport. And we also need to stop these motorways inside the city because it's an absolute disaster for the life quality, for the security, and for the living standards, for the environment, and for the impression a city gives. This kind of level of development is absolutely unneeded. It can be basically an extension of the Maidan. This is my proposal. This has to be an extension of the Maidan, basically a square. And block it. Block it, simply block it. I'm absolutely in favor of blocking it. And this is much better way. And it will be much more humane and nicer city, because this kind of style, the big guys with the big cars driving from the shopping centers to the luxury mansions, this is the past, yeah. A serious kind of European city development. This is the future. A business development district, yeah. The anti-Stalinistic kind of parade streets, which are only built for military show-off events and are leading to very bad life quality, and they are really have to be redeveloped, and this is absolutely necessary. It's not easy because people are used to that, but it's for no kind of purpose, in my view. You know, it's absolutely only military usage. And how often do you want to do military parades? Yeah, of course, for the National Day on the 24th of August, yeah, fine. But it cannot be the one. Here's the city of Kyiv, here the mayor's house. And by the way, Mr. Zelensky, you have promised. I saw also your Slucha Narodga, the Netflix. I can recommend that very much. Who wants to have some fun, also with subtitles. And it was promised that all the public administration buildings will be settled outside, removed outside of the city. And that's actually a very good idea. And a typical example how good ideas are then not happening. I'm really very much in favor of removing the districts, also the central administration buildings, you know, like also the mayor's house, yeah, and the ministries. There's a lot of ministers over there, and the main administration district is over there, the Bankova. This can all be removed, yeah? Put it somewhere else, outside. Or, as I have said many times already, but because I'm a federalist, I'm very much put the Ministry of Infrastructure to Zaporozhye, put the Ministry of Energy to Lviv, put the Minister of Agriculture to Kharkov, and it's a very big country. This kind of French-style centralism, which Kyiv is now inherited from the chaotic transition, is very bad. We need a federal Ukraine, not one which is then taken apart by the enemies. No, like Austrian, German-style federalism. A second chamber, a federal state like the United States of America. This is very good. This is what we all have. And this is, of course, a much better way to organize a big country, like Ukraine is, no doubt, one of the biggest. And that's the way to do it. So that's my take on that one. This is the typical Stalin's donation, Stalinska Doma. You know, in Warsaw they have one, and in Moscow they have 6 or 7, I think. They've now replaced the red star with the Ukrainian star. And actually what I like very much in the city environment here, they have managed to basically end all the Soviet kind of memory culture. They have radically gone to remove Lenin, Stalin, all these things out of the city experience. Yeah, there's no Lenin statue, there's no Stalin statue, all the names were changed. This is very good. Imagine the same happening in Russia one day. I will be so happy if Lenin is removed from the Red Square. Imagine. That will be the day I go to Moscow back again to celebrate. This should happen. This is so important. The end of this evil empire and its memory culture, which unfortunately to this day in Russia of Vladimir Putin, it's held in high regards. Dictators and murderers, criminal fucks like Lenin and like Stalin, they are held in reverence in Putin's Russia. And here in Ukraine, after 2014, they have removed it all. They've gone very radical. They said no, 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 no. And they've gone really erased it all. And that's very good. Because, by the way, it was a criminal regime. This was a criminal terrorist group, the most brutal one. There was a lot of competition inside the opposition to the Tsarist Empire. And unfortunately, the most brutal and most reckless group has won. That is the Bolsheviks, that is Lenin. And they have imposed their will on the world. With the amazing resources of the Russian Empire, the Soviet Union has harassed the world 70 years, and they have created havoc in Africa, Asia, taken China and created all the mess of the world. Here is the basic origin of the evil empire, and the Ukrainians got rid of it. Even of the inheritance of the evil empire, that's Putin's Russia. Because, let's be very honest, this is the Russia. There was, I've talked on my podcast a lot about it, but remember, in 93 there was the crisis, 91 the coup, then the independence, then 93 the attack on the parliament, yeah, the power struggle, basically civil war in Russia, 96 the Yeltsin, and 98 the ruble crisis, and then of course Putin reimposed himself in the ideological kind of inheritance of the Soviet Union, and basically the Cold War never stopped. Yeah, we had some moments of lighter transition from 93 to 98, 5 years, and then we lost the internal power struggle in Russia. Yeah, that's the story. Here, this is the Bessarabsky market. This is basically it's a kind of a food market. Bessarabsky, obviously, that's Moldova. Bessarabsky, that was the areas which were reconquered. I talked in my podcast a lot about Katerina the Great project of liberation of southern Russia. And of course, in that kind of inheritance, this is called Bessarabsky, and that's basically the fruit market of this more, in a way, Mediterranean climate, Moldova, which was bringing fruits to Kyiv. This is where I wanted to show you for the city development over there. There was the Lenin the monument. It's gone. I will show you in a second. This is just to see everything, the Bessarabsky market. That's the Stalinistic ally, the Kreshetik, up to the Maidan. And here you have, actually that's a very interesting place, because I remember when my parents were here at this Palace, yeah, and there was shooting in front of it, because Putin killed some of the parliamentarians of Russia who ran to Ukraine, because many had friends and family here. They went into hiding in Ukraine when they were no longer on the good side of Putin, and he was shot. It was in 2017, I think. And on that one, that's the big shopping center. I remember I was walking here, and there was a Chechen dissident fighting for Georgia. He lived in Ukraine as well, and he was blown up. Some hours I was walking past on the fitness gym. There was a traffic jam, and then they told me what happened. Well, I saw it in the media. So in every of these places, you can already say where Putin has killed some of his guys who he thinks must be punished by death, and wherever they go, they will be executed. And that's the story here. Yeah, that's the Pinchuk Art Center. For example, look at this. I cannot believe it. Some progress is happening, yeah? Because this is what I always said. Here must be a pedestrian area. Look how much nicer it is. I cannot believe. Bravo, Klitschko. I cannot believe it. This was a very, very crowded street. It was very problematic, yeah? And now look, it's not so easy, not so complicated. They put some blockage, and suddenly you have, this must be of course revitalized, and there must be some kind of pedestrian area, yeah? But it's not so complicated to do good things. Hello, Mr. Klitschko, bravo! Decency is possible. And the same ultimately has to happen also on the big street here. Of course, you do this, you need, and then you need here around to leave the traffic, yeah? But that area from here towards the Maidan, you simply close it, yeah? And of course there will be some complication with the traffic, yes, yeah, but the traffic will flow. You don't need this kind of motorway style streets in the city. And please, of course, the city needs to extend its public transport capabilities, yeah? There is no doubt and no alternative to that one. Absolutely no. But this is now a very pleasant surprise. I'm very happy for that one. Bravo. And look, the whole, it's already more quiet, safer, and much better. And that's very good. That's very good. Progress is happening. I want to go now. Where I want to go? Yes, I think I will leave you for a moment, go in the undergrounds, because here is a lot of underground walking area. That's also one very good thing here in Kyiv. You have a lot of these underground carriers, and I will go there now. And that's in the winter very good when it's really cold. This February actually is not very cold. I was here when it was half a year at minus 20, and it was really hard. And now I'm actually fine. In this weather it's good. It's just about 0 degrees. And I will say goodbye now, walk a little bit in this underground shopping center, and then come back when I'm at my destination, that is the Austrian Embassy. Bye.